Hello and welcome to 3 Minute Gaming. I'm Nathan, and today I'm going to tell you if this game's with your time and bandwidth.
Today's game is Clair, Obscur Expedition 33. Part Persona, all French, does Expedition 33 live up to the massive hype? Well, let's find out. Clair, Obscur Expedition 33 is a long name for a game that should have just been called Expedition 33, and it's a turn-based RPG that apes a lot from both Persona and the bygone stylings of PS1 JRPGs. A supernatural entity called the Paintress has invaded the world, and every year ticks down a number in a massive monolith. Whatever number remains, all survivors older than that number are killed. So every year, an expedition comprised mostly of those doomed anyway heads off to try and figure out what is going on to stop it. Your crew is Expedition 33, though your visit to the Paintress's continent may not go as anticipated. The story, frankly, is fantastic. It has an immensely engaging premise that the game dollies up with plenty of pathos, but what shines most is both its complex and well-realized characters, paired with themes of grief and how grief changes people and affects them differently. There's a lot to unpack here, and that's a good thing. The game's structure is very much Square Enix circa 1990s. You have an honest-to-God world map to wander around, broken apart into zones or dungeons to explore that are often large and maze-like. You're going to be doing a lot of combat, and it's very Persona-esque, in that it is turn-based but with some twists. First, you can either dodge or parry literally every attack in the game, kind of like those Mario and Luigi games, and should you parry an enemy's entire attack chain, you get a free counter, meaning skilled players could possibly no damage the whole game. Your action economy is based on AP, which you generate by either parrying, attacking, or a bunch of other ways I'll get into. AP is spent on skills or on free aiming your ranged weapon, which is often used to target weak points. This all keeps the combat very kinetic and active, despite being turn-based. Outside of combat, you'll be building your character using pictos, basically equipable passives, but once you win 4 battles with a picto equip, it goes into a bank that any character can now equip any number of, assuming you have the resources. Very similar to Final Fantasy IX system. Since you can mix and max literally any passive this way, you can make some insane combos. And since every character has their own unique playstyle, there's a lot to play with. As mentioned, you'll be doing this across a gorgeous world map with plenty of creative zones, each with their own battle theme, thank God. After being the main story, there's tons of side super bosses to encounter, and more to test your mettle before going on to New Game Plus. And really, that's Expedition 33, a turn-based RPG with flash style, a more active turn-based battle system, and supported by an engaging and twist-filled tale of loss. So what did I like about Expedition 33? Well, the game's narrative, script, voice acting, and story pacing are phenomenal. It leans heavily into being a metaphor about what grief can do to a group of people, and pairs this with plenty of unforeseen twists, morally great characters, and lots to think about as the credits roll. Additionally, the game's art and music are phenomenal. Since the continent is created by a paintress, it allows for a ton of creative and surreal environments, and the music across the board rivals games like Nier in their rich orchestral and sung melodies. And lastly, the turn-based combat is addictingly fun to try and master, but for me it was min-maxing the picto system that really sucked me in. There's tons of busted and silly builds to experiment with, such as, say, auto-killing an ally for team buffs, and every new picto was an exciting new thing to play with. When it comes to the bad, the smaller zones really could have used some kind of mini-map or just a map in general. They're often fairly large, and the lack of guidance around where you've been, especially when trying to find secrets, can be frustrating. On that note, a better indication of area completion or a clearer world map indicator to help you find where to go next when it comes to side content would have been really nice. And lastly, there's some elements that definitely should have been fleshed out more. The relationship system feels completely tacked on and borderline superfluous. Tons of important lore and plot things are hidden in optional in-game encounters. It definitely doesn't diminish from the characters or story, but it does feel a bit unfinished. As you know, I rate games here on a 3-point scale. Must play, maybe consider, and don't bother. And Expedition 33 is an exceptionally good turn-based RPG. It's rich with pathos and memorable characters, and filled to the brim with twists and turns that complement its brisk pace. This is paired with gorgeous and imaginative visuals, as well as an exceptional soundtrack, not to mention addicting gameplay systems. If you enjoy RPGs in the slightest, or just love games that look and sound incredible and will emotionally wreck you, Expedition 33 is essential playing. Viva la France! That's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you played or heard of Expedition 33, let me know what you think about it in the comments, but regardless, go out there and make sure you give this one a look.